Hey, you guys. Good morning. Well, I don't know when you're watching this, so it may not be morning. It could be in the evening. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Isn't that on a movie? Anyway, let's not go there. Welcome to day number 10. Can you believe it? We are almost halfway into the 21 days of prayer. This is crazy. I feel like 10 days have gone by crazy fast. I don't know if it's going by crazy fast for you. I've been reading some of your messages and you've been saying that day so-and-so was a little hard and you had to spend, a few extra days on it. So it may feel long to you. I hope not. But I'm so glad that you are sticking with it. Wow. I'm starting to get a little sad. It's halfway. Our time together is halfway over. That's not good. Well, before we get started, as always, I like to do a little bit of housekeeping. And it goes a little bit like this. So you are watching day number 10. That means there's a day number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That come before this video, and I hope you watch it. This is my amazing husband, I think, walking in right now because my voice is a little scratchy, and he is bringing me some awesome peppermint tea. He rocks. And see, you know what, ladies, any single ladies out there, you need to find you an awesome man that loves on you and does these things like bringing you hot tea. They're a keeper when they do that kind of stuff. So anyway, where were we? But you have been sticking it out, and we are walking out this journey together. I have absolutely no clue what I was saying before he walked into the room. But
I'm going to go back and watch the first one.
oh, thank you. See, he's a giver. He keeps on giving to me. That is his job, to tell me half of the time what I'm supposed to be doing. And so go back and watch videos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, because a lot of them build upon each other. And you need to understand one maybe before you understand the other. And so if you want to click this one off and go watch the others, that's great. If you want to watch this one, we'll let you do it. So that's the first little bit of housekeeping. The next bit of housekeeping is I am going to be discussing this book, 21 Days of Prayer for Your Business. And you don't have to have the book. It's completely fine if you don't want to get it. I am going to be today reading several pieces straight from it. And so if you don't have the book, I wrote this last year, did the 21 days of prayer just like this with the videos for my friends on social media. And guess what? We didn't have the book, and everybody walked through each day just completely fine. Hopefully got a lot out of it. But throughout the year, I kept hearing people saying, I wish it was in a book format. And so went through the process of putting it into a book format. I'm really diving deeper into some of the writings and really making some people think. Really making you dive a little bit deeper into the content. And so it's really a book / workbook. You don't have to have it. You can follow along on these videos. But I just ask that you go grab a notebook and a pen if you don't have the book. Because through it, for you to really get, I hope, the full experience is to really apply what we're saying and to dig a little bit deeper. So I'm going to give you a little homework, give you some things to really apply to your life. So it doesn't just go in one ear and out the other, or you think maybe I'll do that later, or maybe that just pertains to somebody else. No, we want it to pertain to you. If you want the book, you can get it at shop.spelloutyou.infuse.com. All right. So let's go over what we've discussed. Can we remember? Every single day, day 1, giving God control. Lord, we give you control. We acknowledge that we need you. We want you to lead and guide us. Day number 2, freedom from our past. You know what? I'm not going to let the past dictate my future. I'm kicking it to the curb. I mean, hey, what's done is done. It's not going to continue to hold me back from the abundant life that Christ Jesus has set out for me. Day number 3, you are uniquely made. You are. Don't sit there and shake your head. Know that you're not. You are uniquely made. Day 4, we talked about catching a vision. You may not see what that end destination is. A lot of times I'm hearing messages of people saying, Monique, but I don't feel like I have a vision yet. I don't feel like it's okay. Remember what we said? Vision is just letting Jesus be the light and the lamp into our feet each step of the way. And one day you're going to go, oh, wow, look, okay, this was the end picture. I had absolutely no clue. Sometimes when you see that end picture, you try going and getting there when, you know what, that's not the direction you were supposed to take. So sit back, enjoy the journey, and let God just keep directing your step. That's vision, having light along the way. What did we do after day number 4? Oh my gosh, can I remember? Day number 5 was be intentional. Now that you've caught a vision, maybe a God vision, or you're getting on that right path, let's be intentional. Let's figure out what our values are. Let's figure out what our non-negotiables are, and let's get it into our life, and let's get it into our business. Day number 6 is always growing. Always growing. We need to just be working on our strengths. Maybe working on our weaknesses a little bit, but spending more time on our strengths. Reading, go into the Word. Lord, how can we grow? Growing is a good thing. The day you stop growing is kind of the day you die, or the day you plateau and never go any further. That's not cool. We want to always be growing and striving just to understand and be who He has made us to be. Day number 7 was amazing. You may need to watch it over and over, or read this part of the book over and over, and do your homework that day, because it's don't give up. We don't want you to give up. The day you give up is the day you give up. Where you're at is now where you're stuck at. You're not moving any further if you give up. So don't give up. Day number 8 was live a life of worship. Oh my goodness, did you know that everything you do, you are living a life of worship? You can worship the Lord. That's honoring Him with the gifts and the talents that you gave Him, your time, your resources, the things that you have available to you, your money, your material things. Living a life of worship. Let's do that. Day number 9, which was yesterday, is embracing excellence in your life. Okay, don't let that freak you out. Sometimes people can go, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Well, no, you can embrace excellence, but don't let it confuse you with today's topic, which is perfectionism weighs you down. I mean, hello? Or is that only me? Does perfectionism, it's like sunshine and rainbows and like all happiness whenever you deal with perfectionism? I think not. Perfectionism weighs you down. At least it does me. And that's what we are going to discuss today. You see, I believe in life that you were meant to thrive. I don't believe that you were just meant to exist and take up space and just make it through each day. I don't believe that's your story. I don't believe that's why you are here. And so many of us do that. We're not thriving. We want more. There's something that's just, and I'm telling you, one of the biggest things that, at least in my life, when I feel like I'm not thriving, is when I am allowing this topic, perfectionism, to weigh me down. Okay, so I want you, if you have your book, to flip to page 72. If you don't have the book, just listen along. But I'm going to read the very first part of the book here to you, of what I wrote out. You see, whenever I was at this part of writing the book, each day, I want you to understand that through the process of writing this book, I felt like I grew so much. And I don't want you to feel like that I have it all figured out. By no stretch of the imagination. It's crazy, but every single day that I was writing about a topic, it was something that I actually was like, I was getting something out of it. Like many times I'm writing and I'm thinking, I need to hurry up and get this book finished and printed because I need to read it myself. You know, we never arrive. We have to always be digging in for more, revisiting things. So many times through the course of the last few days, I've been receiving messages from you guys, and please, I love them. I love them. It's funny reading them. So, they usually start off like this. Probably 99.99999% of my messages start out like this. Monique, I know you're crazy busy. You're probably not going to read this. I know you are flooded with messages, and I kind of giggle and I go, no, I love it. Like, I love it. Even though right now it's kind of chaotic, and I'm really trying to kind of sit back and do these studies and spend some time with family and kind of relax along the way, and then do some other work along the way. I'm reading them, and I love them. But one of the things that I keep hearing over and over is Monique, I feel like I can't push through this day. I can't push through this topic. And I hear you, and I need you to understand that this is a process, okay? This isn't something, even though it's 21 days of prayer for your business, it doesn't mean after you flip to day number 2, then day number 1, giving God control, is completely checked off your list and you've got it all figured out. Or after you do day number 2, which is freedom from your past, when you move on to day number 3, you are have absolutely no issues dealing with anything from your past or anything like that. No, this is a process, and I need you to know a lot of these things that I'm talking to you about during these 21 days are things that I've walked through, but it's actually things that's taken me months, if not years. If not, I still right now am trying to walk through it and trying to figure it out. And this topic today happens to be one that I am constantly trying to figure out and try to walk through. But when I wrote this part of the book, it was actually real, raw emotions. It was stuff that I'm like, this is how it feels, because I'm walking through this. In the process of writing the book, am I writing the right things? Am I bringing the right scriptures? Am I transitioning right into the next thing? Am I asking the right questions? I'm going through all of these things in my head as I'm writing it. And then I'm at the beach here, and I have my family, but then I'm thinking I'm spending all of this time writing, am I neglecting my family? I feel like I'm doing this, and am I even writing? Am I even doing it perfect? But now, like, I'm not being the perfect mom. You know what I'm saying? And now I've still got my business on top of being a mom, on top of writing a book, that I'm wondering if I'm writing the book perfect. And then I'm wondering, am I being a good leader? Am I taking care of my team? And then I start getting some messages of some things that's a little disgruntled. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Monique, you're such a loser. You're not perfect. You're talking about perfectionism. You're talking about excellence. Are you walking out excellence? I mean, hello, are you a little worn out by everything I've just said? Because those were the things. So as I'm writing this, the emotions are raw, and I want to tell you, so I say, perfectionism. Here are a few things a perfectionist may deal with over the course of their journey. See if you can relate to any of these characteristics. A perfectionist is rarely content. A perfectionist is rarely content. They finally get a project perfect. Then they see all the ways it could have been just a little bit better. Let me pause and tell you how I seriously gut laughed about 5 minutes before pressing live on this video to talk about perfectionism weighing you down. I'm looking over this book, and I'm flipping through it just to see what's tomorrow's topic. And tomorrow's topic is creative problem solving. And I thought, oh gosh, it would have probably been really good to have followed today with, instead of creative problem solving, being still. Because moving from perfectionism into being still would have really flowed a little bit better. And I am seriously thinking, and then I'm thinking, maybe when it goes to the reprint, I should switch those days. Like, okay, Monique, I just laughed. Like, seriously, you stop. Stop it. Because you right here are doing exactly what you said here. They finally get a project perfect or completed. Then they see all the ways it could have been just a little bit better, and it weighs you down. Only me? I don't think so. I think you deal with it too. A perfectionist sets unrealistic expectations for themselves and others. Is that you? I don't know. Maybe you don't, but I set some pretty unrealistic expectations for me and others. There's probably moments the team that works with us on our McLean team, Eric, and we got Michael who does our graphics, and Chase who handles the store, Tiffany who helps us with events and just really managing parts of our life. I'm sure there's times that they are like, you are setting, they've even told me, Monique, you are setting unrealistic expectations. There's absolutely no way this can be done. Like, stop, like, slow down. You're drowning us here, okay? It's the truth. So a perfectionist sets unrealistic expectations for themselves and others. They are so caught up in the end project being perfect, they don't enjoy the process. Can I tell you, through the process of writing this book, there were so many times that I got so caught up in perfection of it. I'm like, Monique, you need to stop that. You need to sit back and you need to enjoy the process of this. I've really tried. I'm growing in this area. I am worlds beyond where I used to be. But even in the filming of these videos now for this series, I am really trying to sit back and enjoy the process of it. We came down here to the beach. I really learned last year when doing this that I needed to be focused. I needed to be in one area. I didn't need a lot of things going on. And this was just, I wanted to be down here to where I could focus and I could do these things. But every day I've really tried to sit back and enjoy the process of it and not get caught up. There's a lot of things in my mind that wants to go, you need to be doing this. And if you would have done this, and if you would have had this, and if you would have cleaned up the Infuse website, and if you would have be doing the blog posts up on there, and you'd be sharing the link. Like, I get caught up, but I'm like, stop, just stop. I'm going to enjoy this process. I'm going to enjoy the process of it. When I was beginning and growing my business with the company that I'm with, at the beginning stages of it, I was very, very new. I had no prior experience in this realm of company that I was working with. And as I was starting to walk through the process and walk through the journey, I was seeing the things that I needed for the journey. So I started doing these little videos for my team to teach them and educate them on growing their business. And the videos, you guys, when I go back and watch them now, hilarious. Like, it was my old camera, like not even an SLR camera or nothing like that. It was just a regular point and shoot camera. And I would have it sitting on 1,000,000 books on a stock pot, sitting on top of that. And the lighting was bad in the room. There was glares on like whiteboards. We lived next to a train track. The train would be going by and I would have to go, okay, let's stop and pause and let the train go by. And I mean, the videos are just cracking me up. Cracking me up. Can I tell you, still to this day, people will message me and say, do you have those old videos? Like, I love those old videos. Oh my gosh, those old videos, they were amazing. And I look and go, oh my gosh, they are so not perfect. So not perfect. And later on down the journey, when our resources, our paycheck got a little bit bigger, we went out and bought all of this fancy equipment to do videos. I kid you not, like lighting and like all this kind of stuff. You would like get sick to your stomach if you knew how much money we spent on all of this stuff. I filmed videos for my team, and can I tell you, after filming those videos, I would have people say, I like the other videos better. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What? And I sit back now all these years later and I look at the journey of that and the process of that, and I'm thinking, you know what? That it wasn't perfect, but that process was so fun. It was so enjoyable. It was really some fond memories, and it still was beneficial to others, and they were far from perfect. And even when I later down the road tried creating things that I thought was more perfect, people still didn't want it. They wanted those old videos. So you know what? Enjoy the process of it. A perfectionist will let failures get in their head and slow them down. A perfectionist will let failures or mistakes get in their head or slow them down. Well, you messed up. That was not perfect. That was not perfect. And the next time you try again, it's not going to be perfect. And it's going to happen again. And you know what? So it paralyzes you. Only me? Come on. You got to be doing the same thing. How about this? They never start something because they are too busy trying to make it perfect before they begin. Oh, geez. I've got this new project that I'm really wanting to start. And honestly, I've had stuff created for it as far as like graphics and things of that nature created for probably 6 months. But for the life of me, I'm trying to make it perfect before I give it, before I launch it, before I do it. And I have not started. For 6 months, I have not put this out there, out on the World Wide Web or whatever you want to call it. I haven't brought it to fruition, or is that a word? Words are hard for me because I want it to be perfect. And it's not happening. You don't know what it is that I'm talking about because I'm wanting it to be perfect rather than just doing it. When I started my journey with this business that I am currently in, I did not allow perfectionism to get in my head. I just started. I didn't think, well, I don't have the fancy equipment. I don't have the proper lighting. Well, I don't know it all. No, I just started and I did it. But now as I start getting along, I start letting out, I want it to be perfect. Don't fall into the trap. Get started. Do something. You're going to fail at something. You're going to make a mistake and it's okay. You're not going to let it get in your head. You're going to get back up and you're going to start over. All right. So a perfectionist. Oh, this is going to get good right here, guys. Ugh. A perfectionist feels like they have never done enough, given enough, or loved enough. A perfectionist feels like they have never done enough, given enough, or loved enough. The feeling of guilt consumes them often. Only me? Oh. Stressed out, overwhelmed, and worn down define their lives most of the time. Oh, how about this? Ugh. When a plan doesn't come together, they snap. What in the world? Why? I mean, what? This is not what I had planned. Seriously? I mean, what is happening? I would say 99.999% of the times that I lose my temper with my family is when I had an idea in my head of something that I wanted to do or a way that I wanted it to be done, and then it didn't turn out happening like that. Or I had in my mind that we were going somewhere and Jared passes the place on the road and I was like, oh wait, we were going right, we were supposed to stop, right? Well, no, you didn't tell me that. Well, no, yeah, I did. Well, I mean, I guess I just maybe thought it in my head. Well, I mean, turn around. Well, no, Monique, I had the plan to go up here. Well, no, I mean, this plan was perfect. You snap. The times that I snap the most is when something that I thought was perfect or this plan that I thought was the best doesn't take place. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I just need, to go through therapy right now. Maybe this chapter is just for me. How about this? Comparison torments a perfectionist. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, look at so-and-so. I said this earlier in our time together. I mean, look at Kari. I mean, she's so bubbly and happy. And I mean, she's always congratulating her members on certain things. And I'm not doing that enough. Oh my gosh. Like, look at April. April knows so much about the product. April, my word. I mean, I don't understand all about product, and she can just go on and on and on about this is what this product does. And I don't understand it that much. And man, what in the world? And Stacy, oh my gosh, the last time I was over when she had that party and I helped her, she was such a hostess and she had everything. Her table looked so pretty. She had everything put out just right. I mean, I never do anything. I'm just like, eat before you come. Grab a water before you come because I'm not going to feed you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Only me? Comparison? Do you compare yourself? I mean, look at them. They're just going, look, they're growing so fast. They're doing this. Look, they've got it all together. I mean, look at her Instagram feed. Her pictures are awesome. They all flow so good. What is up with this person? They've got so many people who are liking what they say. I said the same thing, and I didn't have that many people liking what I said. What's the deal? Do you compare yourself? It's not good. It's not good. It'll weigh you down. I mean, when you do that kind of stuff, when you act like that, does it make you feel like the sun just came out and, no, you feel weighed down. You feel weighed down. Comparison torments a perfectionist. Their weaknesses stand out like a neon flashing sign. I had somebody recently send me a kind of a laundry list of some things that were, my issues and that I deal with. And I'm like, they're like, we just want to let you know some of these may be blind spots to you. And I was like, oh, girlfriend, those are not blind spots to me. I probably got a million blind spots. I get it. But those are neon flashing signs in my face. Hello, Monique. Problem. This is your issue. Control freak. Perfectionist. You don't do this enough. Neon flashing sign. Hey, this is you. So their weaknesses stand out to them like a neon flashing sign. Oh, it's about to get even better. They are critical of themselves and others. Critical of themselves. Monique, you should have got that together. What is your deal? When are you going to learn? You've been dealing with that for the last 2 months. There you went again. You had done so good for a couple of months on that one, and there you went and lost it. Lost your temper. Critical of themselves and others. Oh, well, I'll tell you what their issue is. Usually when you're critical of yourself, you're critical of others too. Well, they need to get their act together. If they would just be a little bit more like this. Should I keep on going on and on? I say, I know this person far too well. For years, I have let perfectionism have control over my life. I am finding freedom though. I'm not perfect, but I'm finding freedom from that. I can't say that I'm perfect at keeping perfectionism from rearing its ugly head in my day, but that's a good thing, right? That means I'm giving myself grace and enjoying the process of growth in this area. Did you hear that? I'm actually enjoying the process of growth in this area. I literally laughed out loud when I thought, well, this chapter would really be good following this chapter before I hit Facebook Live. I giggled. I don't know if you remember, if you're in the Facebook group here, there was a day I said, turn to page 3 of the book. Page 3 of the book, there was a typo. Page 3. When I got this little book in my hands for the first time and I started reading it, and I saw on page 3, midway down, I wrote, what does giving God control mean to you? And God was not capitalized. That might not be important to you, but it's very important to me that I give proper authority and respect to God, and I like to capitalize his name. And when I saw that it was a little g, it wasn't just that I misspelled the word "the" or something. It was that. And it, like my heart, it was a punch in the gut when I saw that. Like seriously, like right now, it takes my breath. That's how I felt. And I was like, well, there's 10,000 of them sitting in my basement right now with that typo. And it's okay. You know what? It is what it is. And while I'm upset over it, I know the mistake that we made that allowed that typo to be there in the process of editing. It was just something we did that when we were fixing I used caps a lot. And at the end, we're like, let's go out and take some of those caps. And it was just highlight the paragraph, uncapitalize, and it uncapitalized that word. And you know what? It is what it is, and we learned from it. And there was a time and day where honestly I would not have been able to enjoy the rest of looking through that book and going, oh, it's in my hands now. Like, I've worked on this for so long. I would have snapped. I would have been like, what in the world? This is ridiculous. And you know what? I was like, no, it's not perfect. I'm going to let this be a beautiful example of there is something in this book that is not perfect. And we're going to learn from it. And we are going to be okay. We're going to be okay with it. And we're going to maybe bring it up as a teaching example throughout the book. And it's okay. And we're going to move on. When you begin to find freedom, freedom is freeing. Freedom is freeing. And whenever you can begin to find freedom over perfectionism, it's giving yourself a little bit of grace and a little bit of mercy, because perfectionism will never be obtained. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So I say, perfect will never happen, and I am okay with that. I am okay with that. Do you deal with perfectionism? If so, write out the feelings that consume your life because you carry the weight of perfectionism. So the very first thing I ask you to do in the homework, if you've got the book, please write in it. Please write in it. If you don't, get your notebook out and think about that. Start writing out, this is what I feel when I deal with perfectionism. These are the emotions that it brings out. I tell you right there above what emotions it brings out for me. I say stressed out, overwhelmed, and worn down. Stressed out, overwhelmed, and worn down is how I feel when I allow perfectionism to rule in my life. So figure out what it is for you. Now, if you flip to the next page, I talk about what the Bible says about perfectionism. You guys, the Bible is so amazing. Break your Bible out, read it. It's not just something to sit out up on a shelf, brush the dust off of it, or get a Bible app on your phone. There's a great U version, spell out U version. Search that. It's a great Bible app that you can download to your phone, and it has reading plans and it has things that you can, but get a little bit of the Word in you every day, because it is that light. Remember the lantern, holding a lantern. It's a light into your feet, and it gives you these aha moments. Ecclesiastes 11:4 says, farmers who wait for perfect weather never plant. If they watch every cloud, they never harvest. That is so good. Farmers who wait for perfect weather never plant. Those people who wait for the perfect plan to come together for their business, they never get started. That's what it says. If they watch every cloud, they never harvest. This could happen. If this rain cloud's going to come, if this issue comes up, if I make this person upset, if you think of everything bad, but no, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year. It's never. I told you earlier in our time together, one of the things that lit a fire under me is Eric was trying to be helpful to me in the process of writing this book, and we were on a tight time frame, and he knows how I want to do things with excellence, and I want to give my all, and I want it to be excellent, not perfect. And I was like, oh goodness. He goes, Monique, why don't you wait and just release the book next year? And I was like, no, absolutely not. You know why? Because there is always going to be something. There is always going to be something. I'm not going to be watching these rain clouds and think, well, maybe next year it's going to be better. Or maybe, no. Just start it. Just do it. So Ecclesiastes 11:4, write that verse down. So now next I ask, how do you work at overcoming perfectionism in your life? That's great, Monique. I don't want to. I agree with you. I want to kick it to the curb. It weighs me down. I don't like it. How can I do it? So great question. The very first thing you need to understand is our topic from yesterday about excellence, because there is a very, 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 very fine line, because I do believe we should walk out excellence in our life. But there is a fine line between excellence and perfectionism. What did I say about excellence yesterday? I wrote it down again in the book. When you embrace excellence in your life and business, you are embracing your unique design with the tools and resources you currently have on hand. We have to start by giving ourselves some grace. We can only do what we can do, and we can't compare our season to another person's season. So what I ask you to do right here is, can you think of times that you have compared your season to another person's season? Can you think of when you've said, well, if only I could be more like this, or if only I could do better like this, or like this person, or this person's business, or the way they found success. So are there times that you have got caught up in that? Okay. The next thing you have to do is you have to know you. We talked about that yesterday. Embracing excellence is understanding who you are, how you are wired, your gifts and talents, and embracing it into your life, into your business. That is walking out excellence. Okay? However, you also need to know who you are not. So perfectionism would be me trying to be like Stacy and being the hostess with the mostest. Is that how you say it? That's how you say it. The hostess with the mostest. And it is so true. I mean, I am not a cook. Okay, I'll cook. I don't really enjoy it, but I'll do it if I have to. Okay. Many of you know, if you follow me on social media, I've been on my regular Facebook talking about the Instant Pot. The Insta Pot. That's what I like to call it. But I just don't enjoy cooking. It's not my cup of tea. My mother loves to cook. My grandmother loves to cook. My brother went to culinary school in New York. He is an amazing chef. I did not get any of that genetics in my body. I cannot stand to cook. I don't like to touch raw meat. I'm like gagging. I'm like dumping it over in it. I just don't like to cook. And so we have a lot of people, especially when we were living up in Utah, that would come and stay at our house. And can I tell you, I loved having people in our house to where I could talk with them. We could talk about business, could show them around, I loved all of that. But when it got to the part of how am I going to feed them? Oh my goodness. I was like, what do I do? Like, I can't tell you how many times we made last minute trips to Whole Foods. We were throwing food in buggies. And I'm like that was the part that stressed me out about people coming over to my house, because I'm just I don't enjoy that process of cooking. And so it finally got to a point where I used to be so stressed out of having the perfect meal for them when they got there, snacks, something for dinner. I finally got to the point that I was like, look, this is not my cup of tea. There's muffins, there's stuff right here, there's things for you to grab in the refrigerator if you want it. And guess what? If you want to cook, there's pots and pans right here. There's some bacon in the fridge. There's some eggs. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. So if y'all want to cook, yeah, I ask my team, ask the people I work with. I've got a joke with one of my friends, Meredith. There were times that she stayed at our house. There was a big group that stayed at our house, and every morning I'd be like, oh my gosh, it smells so good when I woke up, because Meredith was in there cooking in the kitchen. I mean, I was like, Meredith, I love you. Thank you for cooking for everybody, because that's not my cup of tea. A lot of breaking that chain off of you of perfectionism is just really understanding who you are and who you aren't. And it's so freeing to go, you know what? I enjoy sitting here and talking about business strategies with all of these guys. I just don't enjoy cooking them bacon. And that's okay. It's just this breath of fresh air to go, this is not who you are, Monique. I mean, it's okay that at family functions and at family Thanksgiving and Christmas, that the only thing the family members ask me to bring are ice or bought store rolls. They know not to say, Monique, can you bring the ham this year? Monique, could you bring the turkey? Monique, why don't you do this? My family members know me. They know to say, Monique, honey, why don't you just bring the ice? Okay, can you bring the ice? And I'm like, okay, yes, I can bring the ice. Know who you are and know who you aren't. And you start to break that perfectionism, okay? Give yourself some grace. So the next thing that I ask is, the bottom line is what I just said, know who you are and give yourself some grace. Is it hard for you to give yourself grace? Is it hard to give yourself grace? What are the biggest things you beat yourself up over? What is it? I want you to write them down. What are those things that you beat yourself up over? What are the things that you lay your head down at night to go to sleep and it starts rolling through your mind and you're like, well, I could have just done that. Gosh, you really don't have it together here. What are those things? I want you to write them down. Part of this process is really digging deep and asking yourself the hard questions, okay? Do your homework. So the next thing I say is get to the root. Where is this coming from? Why are we feeling this way? What is it? Because if we know it's there, now, we don't just need to fix this symptom. We don't need to look at this as the symptom. Let's get to the underlying root cause. What is down here? We're digging deep. I'm asking you these questions because it is meant to dig deep. It's meant to get deep down and figure out what the root cause is. You can't remove something unless you remove the root, okay? The root is there, and as long as that root is still there, you can chop off the weed, you can chop off that thing that's growing, but if the root is still there, it's going to continue to come up again. Oh, chop it off. Come up again. So what is the root? That's the reason why we're digging deep, because we want to get down here. And let me tell you, Eric Hudson called me out on it one day. You know, I told you when we hired him, there was lots of days where I'm sure he has cried a lot because I drive him crazy. And there's lots of days that he has asked me really hard questions that's made me sit and like gut cry, because he's making me dig deep. He's making me dig deep. So listen to this. I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you. No sense in me reinventing the wheel here. I'm going to read to you what I said. On page 74, if you have the book. One day when I was having a pity party, our business and financial consultant, Eric Hudson, finally called me on it. I was probably going on and on about how I felt like I was never enough. I never did enough. I should be helping this person or that person more. This project could have been better. That book should have been finished. I should have marketed that product a different way. I forgot to tell so-and-so happy birthday. The words he said still ring loud in my ears. Eric, why? So I'm saying, I'm not enough. My goodness, I forgot to tell so-and-so happy birthday. I struggle with that. I always forget it. You know, I have a joke with my aunt. She's actually here with us at the beach, and I always tell her happy birthday the day after her birthday. So I'm just like, okay, can we just let this be your birthday? I'm always one day late. Do you always feel like you're one day late? You know what? That project should have been completed. I should have done this way. You know what? I'm not doing enough. I'm not taking care enough. I'm not being enough. And he said, why? Well, what do you mean why? That's what I say here. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean why? Well, why do you feel that way? Well, what do you mean why do I feel that way? We literally had this conversation. Well, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel like you're not enough? Well, because I feel like when I'm doing that, I'm not adding value. Or, well, why do you need to feel like you're doing enough? Like, why do you feel like you need to have done that? Why do you feel like you should be doing more over? Like, why do you feel all these things? And I'm thinking, so I'm starting to get mad. Well, because I like to add value to people, Eric. I want to do all I can do. Well, why? Like, he literally just keeps saying why. He just keeps saying why. Well, because I feel like it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to take care of these people. They're in my organization. It's my responsibility. Why? Well, because if I don't, I'm going to disappoint. I'm going to disappoint them if I don't. So why? And he's like, and he can see that I'm starting to get frustrated with them. I'm like, look, I'm about to throat punch you right now. Like, seriously, you're making me mad. Quit asking me why. And I'm thinking, okay, well, why? Why do I? And I tell you, I still to this day ask myself that question. He said, Monique, don't get mad at me. There's so many times he'll say, I sense that when I asked you that, it kind of struck a nerve with you. And I'm like, yeah. Okay, now it's still striking a nerve that you notice that it struck a nerve. And he's like, so, you know, I see it's making you a little mad, but I don't mean that question. I'm not trying to call you on something. I'm not saying, because the perfection in me is going, well, he thinks, well, why? Well, now I'm not perfect. So now he's thinking me being perfect, because of me being perfect, is me not being perfect. Like, I'm not being perfect. I'm not perfect being perfect. And he's like, and so he says, listen, this isn't a bad thing. I'm not trying to call you on something. I just want you to stop and think. What is it? What is that root cause? What need are you trying to fulfill, Monique? And can I tell you, probably 6 months or longer, I allowed that question to ring in my ears. Why? So I told him, I said, well, I feel like it's because maybe I don't want to disappoint. Like, what emotions does it bring up when I feel like I'm not enough to somebody? Then what does that mean, Monique? So when I tell you that I'm asking you to dig deep, I've been digging deep this past year. So Monique, you deal with this. You feel like you haven't done enough for people. So what emotion does that? What does it bring about? Well, it makes me feel like I haven't added value. It makes me feel like I haven't done enough. And then that makes me feel like I've disappointed them. And I was like, bingo. One of the biggest things that is this hold, this stronghold, this chain is I don't like to disappoint people. The messages that you get where it's like you feel like you let somebody down, like it kind of cuts deep. And I was like, wow, I don't like to be a disappointment. Well, Monique, you know what? Why? Are you getting your value from giving value? Like, do you feel like if you give enough value and if you do enough, then that's going to make you be this perfect individual? Do you feel like then, like, have you arrived? Because that's never going to be the person you are. Watch this. I want you to read in your Bible today. It's two passages, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but John, in the Gospel of John. So it's Matthew in the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. If you go to John, that chapter. John 17 and 18, I want you to read it. And shortly after Eric Hudson asked me that, you guys, I was downstairs in my basement, and I was reading my Bible one morning. I wasn't reading my Bible trying to find an answer to this question. I was just simply spending that time that morning reading. I didn't wake up and go, Lord, I'm going down to read your word today. I need an answer about this whole perfectionism thing. No. It was something that had been on my mind, and it's something that I've been praying about, trying to find freedom over that. But I just woke up that morning and went downstairs and started reading my Bible. And I started reading John 17. And as I'm reading it, I actually do, if you don't mind, I'm going to read John 17. And I'll probably start midway through in verse 6, okay? And as I was reading this morning before I went and pressed live, I was thinking about how amazing this passage is actually Jesus praying to God, okay? What I'm about to read to you is Jesus praying. And one thing that struck me as I was reading this is how conversational it was. I'm going to read it to you. And as I read, I want you to understand a few things. I want you to understand, one, it's conversational. And two, I want you to understand that he loved deeply. He loved deeply. Okay? I'm going to start on verse 6. It says, he's praying this. This is Jesus's prayer. Okay, he's praying actually about his disciples, who he loved so much, who he cared so deeply for. He's praying for them right here. He's going to his Father, and he's having a conversation with him about people he loved very deeply. He says, I have revealed you to those whom you gave me out of the world. They were yours. You gave them to me, and they were yours. You gave them to me, and they have obeyed your word. Now they know that everything you have given me comes from you. For I gave them the words you gave me, and they accepted them. They knew with certainty that I came from you, and they believed that you sent me. He's having a conversation with him. Just a conversation. Nothing formal. A conversation. I pray for them. I'm not praying for the world, but for those you have given me, for they are yours, and all I have is yours, and all you have is mine, and glory has come to me through them. I will remain in the world no longer, but they are still in the world, and I'm coming to you. Holy Father, protect them by the power of your name. He loves them so. He loved them so much. The name you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one. While I was with them, I protected them and kept them safe by that name you gave me. None has been lost except the one doomed to destruction, so that the scripture would be fulfilled. I am coming to you now, but I say these things while I am still in the world, so that they may have the full measure of my joy within them. I have given them your word, and the world has hated them, for they are not of the world any more than I am of the world. My prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. They are not of the world, as I am not of it. Sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth, and you sent me into the world, and I have sent them into the world. For them I sanctify myself, that they too may be truly sanctified. I'm going to keep reading, guys. My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one. Father, just as you are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one. I and them and you and me, so that they may be brought to complete unity. Then the world will know that you sent me and have loved them, even as you have loved me. Father, I want those you have given me to be with me where I am and to see my glory, the glory you have given me because you loved me before the creation of the world. Righteous Father, though the world does not know you, I know you, and they know that you have sent me. I have made you known to them and will continue to make you known, in order that the love you have for me may be in them and that I myself may be in them. Now, I want you to understand a couple of things right there. I read that chapter and I was like, oh, he's praying for his disciples. Look at the love that he has for them. And as I was reading that, I was like, I was taking note of what he was saying, because I was like, I want to care that deeply for those in my team, and I want to care that deeply for others. And I'm thinking, I'm looking at these words, and I then go on to read the next chapter 18, and I'm not going to read it with you, but I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. Right after that prayer that he prayed, he was rejected, he was beaten, he was denied, and he was soon put to death. He was rejected. He was slapped in the face. He was later brought to death. But he cared so deeply. He loved others so much. He was perfect. It came to me in that instance. You want to know when I began finding freedom from perfectionism? It's when I read that verse. I wrote it. Look right here. Look. That, when I write in my book and I write in my Bible, I wrote after I read that. After Jesus prayed, this is what I wrote in my Bible. After Jesus prayed this heartfelt prayer and pouring his love out in prayer, he was still betrayed and denied. And then it dawned on me, and he was perfect. Gosh, I didn't bring tissue. I didn't know I'd cry. And he was perfect. The only perfect individual ever to walk this earth was still rejected, denied, beaten, and put to death. What is probably many of the things that we strive for. We want acceptance. We don't want to be denied. We don't want to let people down. We don't want to, you know what I'm saying? There's these things that we feel like he was enough. We don't feel like we're enough. Perfectionism is when you are weighed down by not being enough. Jesus was enough, but yet he was still rejected. He was still denied. He was still put to death. The very people he just poured his heart out. Do you know Peter, in this next chapter in John 18, when you read it, Peter's standing around a campfire and they're warming themselves. It's a little chilly out that night. And he's standing around with some others, and they're like, but you're with him. You're one of his disciples. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not. And they're like, No, wait. I thought I saw you back there with him. Like, weren't you the one who cut that guy's ear off? It is. It's in the chat. It's in the. It. Read it. It happened. Well, yeah. You're that guy. You cut that guy's ear off. I could have sworn that was you. Nope, wasn't me. I'm not one of his disciples. He was denied by somebody that he loved. Like Jesus loved him so deeply, but yet Peter denied him. Not once, not twice. He denies him several times here. He's denied. A perfect individual still faced all of those things. You know, that is when I was like, Monique, you're not perfect. You are not perfect. You were not made to be perfect. That's the reason why you need Jesus in your life, Monique. You are not made to be perfect. So you're always on this journey of life, Monique. Insert your name. On this journey of life, insert your name. You are never going to be perfect. You are going to let people down. You are going to mess up. You are going to make a mistake. You are going to write a book and have a typo in it. You are going to hurt somebody's feelings. You are going to communicate something in a wrong way, and it is maybe hurtful to somebody. You are going to not be the best mom at some point in time, or the best dad at some point in time. You are going to lose your temper, and you are going to snap, and you are going to 5 seconds later go, dang, why did I do that? You're not perfect. Not only are you not perfect, you and I are dealing with other people who are not perfect. It's a recipe for disaster. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Everybody's not perfect, and we got to do life together. And somewhere along the way, it's going to get messy. We talk about it later in our time together on dealing with conflict. Imperfect individuals dealing with imperfect individuals. Sometimes it gets a little messy. And we've got to give ourselves a little bit of grace. So today, if you deal with perfectionism, my prayer is that you begin to just walk in grace. Give yourself a break. Give yourself some grace. Don't let it weigh you down any longer. We are going to continue to walk through freedom. Freedom was just not on day 2. Freedom is finding freedom over a lot of stuff in our life. And perfectionism is one of those. I wrote this chapter out. Does it mean that I've got it mastered? Absolutely not. A few seconds before I hit go live, I was still dealing with perfectionism. Still letting it get in my head. But what we do is we stop, and now we recognize it. Knowing is half the battle. This is what I deal with. And you know what? Not going to let it define me. I'm going to work at getting better, but I know I'm never going to be perfect. You're going to give yourself some grace. Before we pray, let's flip to the walkout points. If you've got your book, it's on page 77. Oh, let me give you the last thing that I tell you to do on page 76 is if you deal with perfectionism, let Eric's words ring in your ears. Why? From where do you think the root cause stems? Spend some time thinking this over and writing down your thoughts. When you are finished, I say in the book, we'll close out in prayer. Every day I close this out in a little prayer. Here are the walkout points. Spend some time today thinking and meditating on John 17 and 18. Read those chapters. Acknowledge when you are embracing perfectionism in your life. Oh, I'm being perfectionist right here. Knowing is half the battle. Write those times in a journal and how they make you feel. Give grace to yourself and others. And others. And others. Have unrealistic expectations hindered your relationships? Ask for forgiveness. Pray for the Lord to open your eyes when you allow this to creep back in your life. And finally, meditate on Ecclesiastes 11:4. Let's pray. Lord, I love you so much, and I thank you. I thank you for your word and how, as we are diving in and as we are reading your word, that you give these divine revelations, that you speak to us, and that you show us ways that we are letting things in our life get us down and really make us not be at that point of walking out a thriving life. I thank you for your word. Lord, I thank you for the examples that you give us and how you showed us how to love deeply. Lord, we're not perfect. We're not perfect individuals. We have flaws, we have mistakes, we have weaknesses, we have things that we just feel like over and over again keep popping up in our life. But Lord, I pray that you would begin to reveal those things to us, but then that you would also show us ways that maybe we could embrace things with more excellence, but that we would never get beat down with perfectionism, because we know we're not perfect individuals. We do strive for excellence, Lord. We want to walk out excellence in everything we do. But Lord, please help us walk out this area of perfectionism. There's a fine line there. And Lord, reveal it to us. Open our eyes to those times that we really are allowing it to creep in and weigh us down. I thank you, Jesus, for every single person who's devoting this time to you. I pray that you continue to give them wisdom way beyond their years, that you give them discernment more than they've ever had before. Give them wisdom and divine revelation from you. Open their eyes to things they've never seen. In your name, amen. All right, well, I love you guys. And tomorrow we are going to be discussing day number 11, which is creative problem solving. This is seriously, honestly, not necessarily maybe one of my favorite topics, but it is so, so vital to success in your life and your business. I get a little bit more fired up talking about a few of the other days, but this day right here is so needed in your life. I can tell you some of the biggest wins in my business, some of the biggest things that have pushed me on to success in business has come from creative problem solving. And we're going to go there tomorrow. All right. I love you guys. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye.